The cross is the greatest symbol of love this world has ever known, or will ever know. The cross is a symbol of death, of torture, of humiliation, pain. It is one of weight and heaviness. But it is also a symbol that says to the world of brokenness and sin, you shall not pass. Beyond the cross is grace and love and truth and life. But to get to that life, one must go through the cross. That's why you're here today, because you believe that, or at least you feel it inside of you. It's been 2 years since we have been able to gather to celebrate Good Friday. And though what we commemorate and recognize tonight, some would say is not good, but something that is disturbing. But what is truly disturbing is the brokenness that our world finds itself in. And so the cross is the great symbol of hope and love for us. And so tonight you are invited to come as you are, to bring all the heaviness, the weight of disappointment, the frustration, the loss that you have lugged behind you during this pandemic, all those unmet hopes and needs. We can lay them here and find life in Christ. So as we march through tonight's events, we will commemorate and remember the journey that Christ took for us as we read through the Passion of the Christ from the Gospel of Luke with some music accompanying it. And so I invite you now to join me with our call to worship, which you can find on the screen. Behold the cross on which was hung the salvation of the whole world. Come, let us worship. Behold the cross on which hung the salvation of the whole world. Come, let us worship. Behold the cross on which was hung the salvation of the whole world. Come, let us worship. I invite you to remain seated as we sing our opening hymn, What Wondrous Love Is This? Hear now the Passion of the Christ as told by the Gospel writer Luke in his Gospel in chapter 22. Jesus went out as usual to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples followed him. On reaching the place, he said to them, "Pray that you will not fall into temptation." He withdrew about a stone's throw beyond them, knelt down, and prayed, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done." An angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him, and being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. When he rose from prayer and went back to the disciples, he found them asleep, exhausted from sorrow. "Why are you sleeping?" he asked them. "Get up and pray, so that you will not fall into temptation."
While he was still speaking, a crowd came up, and the man who was called Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He approached Jesus to kiss him, but Jesus asked him, "Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss?" When Jesus' followers saw what was going to happen, they said, "Lord, should we strike with our swords?" And one of them struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his right ear. But Jesus answered, "No more of this." And he touched the man's ear and healed him. Then Jesus said to the chief priests, the officers of the temple guard, and the elders who had come for him, "Am I leading a rebellion that you have come with swords and clubs? Every day I was with you in the temple courts, and you did not lay a hand on me." But and mocked him. Dressing him in an elegant robe, they sent him back to Pilate. That day Herod and Pilate became friends. Before this, they had been enemies. Pilate called together the chief priests, the rulers, and the people, and said to them, You brought me this man as one who was inciting the people to rebellion. I have examined him in your presence and have found no basis for your charges against him. Neither has Herod, for he sent him back to us. As you can see, he has done nothing to deserve death. Therefore, I will punish him and then release him." But the whole crowd shouted, "Away with this man! Release Barabbas to us." Barabbas had been thrown into prison for an insurrection in the city and for murder. Wanting to release Jesus, Pilate appealed to them again, but they kept shouting, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" For the third time, he spoke to them. "Why? What crime has this man committed? I have found in him no grounds for the death penalty. Therefore, I will have him punished and then release him." But with loud shouts, they insistently demanded that he be crucified, and their shouts prevailed. So Pilate decided to grant their demand. He released the man who had been thrown into prison for insurrection and murder, the one they asked for, and surrendered Jesus to their will.
Before I read this next passage from Luke, it always punctures my heart when I think about how the people of Israel called for Barabbas to be freed. Because the name Barabbas is two Hebrew words, bar, which means son of, and then Abbas, father. That they released the criminal whose name was the son of the father and casted the guilty verdict on the true son, the father. Luke 23, 26 through 43, the crucifixion. As the soldiers led him away, they seized Simon from Cyrene, who was on his way in from the country, and put the cross on him, and made him carry it behind Jesus. A large number of people followed him, including women who mourned and wailed for him. Jesus turned and said to them, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and for your children, for the time will come when you will say, 'Blessed are the childless women, the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed.' Then they will say to the mountains, 'Fall on us,' and to the hills, 'Cover us.' For if people do these things when the tree is green, what will then happen when it is dry?" Two other men, both criminals, were also led out with him to be executed. When they came to the place called the Skull, they crucified him there, along with the criminals, one on his right, the other on his left. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And they divided up his clothes by casting lots. The people stood watching, and the rulers even sneered at him. They said, "He saved others. Let him save himself if he is God's Messiah, the chosen one." The soldiers came up and mocked him. They offered him wine vinegar and said, "If you're the king of the Jews, save yourself." There was a written notice above him, which read, "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him. "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other criminal rebuked him. "Don't you fear God?" he said. "Since you are under the same sentence, we are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus answered him, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise."
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
It was now about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon, for the sun stopped shining. And the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Jesus called out with a loud voice, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." When he had said this, he breathed his last. The centurion, seeing what had happened, praised God and said, "Surely this was a righteous man."
In just a moment, you will have the opportunity to come forward, if you so desire, for the adoration of the cross. You're invited to come forward to show reverence to this symbol that casts love wherever it stands and symbolizes the incredible act that Christ did on the cross for you and me. And as you approach the cross, you may bow or touch the cross or kneel it. During the pandemic, we're not going to invite you to kiss it. But it's your opportunity to come forward, to embody and follow behind Christ as he carried the cross for you. As the music plays, when you are ready, you may come forward down this middle aisle and then return back the side aisle. closing hymn, were you there when they crucified my Lord? And at the end of that hymn, you are invited to stay and meditate for as long as you would like, and then leave in silence. Here's the truth tonight. The cross does not have the last word. It's only Friday. Sunday to come. It's only Friday. You're invited to come back here on Sunday to participate in the rest of the story. 2 services at 9, 11, and then our children's Easter egg hunt at 10:30. Thank you for coming. Have a holy weekend.